I extremely love RPGs. I know the common ones people know about are JRPG games like SMT, Final Fantasy titles, Kingdom Hearts, the Persona games. I could go on. And ever since then, I've always ventured for that same itch on platforms like Roblox, since I code and play on it a lot in my spare time. Speaking of Roblox RPGs, does anyone remember the Roblox game Adventure Story? That was my all-time favorite Roblox RPG back a couple years ago, even though it was in its early stages. I didn't know if it was possible to make a game like that on the platform until I actually played it, but unfortunately, I believe they stopped development on the game to work on another project, Arcane Odyssey. And ever since then, I've been scavenging around throughout Roblox for the next big turn-based RPG game on the site, and now with the help of a viewer, I finally found... Off the bat, we get a quick introduction to the background and the setting. You, the player, wakes up in a hotel room that belongs to a penguin named Terry in the city of Bisville. I tried to fight him at first, but he looked kind of strong. Me doing like 1 damage, so I just gave up. You start blabbering to him about Builderman, kidnappings, and time travel. But Terry just thinks you're talking nonsense and tells you to get off his bed. It's the year 2010. He also tells us a hotel worker on the front desk is down the hall looking to talk to us. The worker tells us John Shedletsky himself wants to see you at Roblox HQ. And so you start your adventure out in the open world to seek out Shedletsky. Exploring the town, I find a shopkeeper and take a look. First thing off the bat I realize is the currency used to purchase items. It's the currency Tix. Now I don't know if any new gens know about it, but Tix was an old currency used on Roblox many years ago, long before it was removed. I think it was back in 2016. Now continuing to explore a bit, I saw a sketchy figure near the hotel building that sells skill cards you can use in battle. Arriving at the HQ, there's a path blocked off with planks that I tried breaking with my ball. Me being blind, I later soon realized looking at the sign that I need a wooden sword. So I stumble into Roblox HQ on my sub quest to find a wooden sword in the building. Alright, let's talk about game mechanics. To sum it all up, you start off with the attack card, Ball. The game also gave me the option to attack outside of combat. And so being a huge Persona game veteran, I put 2 and 2 together. I used the ball throw attack to hit the roaming enemy, and it rewarded me with a +1 attack buff for my first turn on combat. Now in the enemy and player phase, it's all about timing when it comes to attack frames. When you attack an opponent, you hit your spacebar on the right timing to attack twice with your ball attack. Then on the enemy attack phase, you can hit your spacebar with the right timing, obviously, to then dodge or block the enemy attack. Now, I'm not really sure if this is random or not, whether you can choose to dodge or block due to the timing of the spacebar press, but since then, I've never really experimented. The game started me off with like 10 health, so I really prioritized trying not to die a single time during this run. Early on in the gameplay, the spacebar timing doesn't really matter, but later on, when the enemies attack for a lot more damage, you're going to need to master attack, dodge, and block timing. Now heading upwards in the HQ, you can find random items to help you in battle or currency like Robux currency, Bucks currency actually. We finally find Shedletsky later up, but he's all beat up and nearly unconscious, not thanks to 2 individuals, Red and Blue, a mischievous duo. We engaged in combat, and I couldn't help but notice Blue has less health than Red, so I tried to target and get him out the way first. And I also had to genuinely lock in for this encounter. As you can see, it's a 2v1, and I don't know what would happen if I get one of them out the fight. I knocked Blue out first, obviously, but to my dismay though, Red gains an attack buff from you beating up their friend. A cool thing I noticed though is when you're low enough in health, the music starts distorting, so that kind of scared me a bit, and I started getting better at my double attack timing. I was forced to get good under pressure and finally beat Red. The defeated duo said they were going to tell their boss and scurry off, and with that, we go and see how Shedletsky is doing. He starts blubbering stuff similar to what we were saying in the beginning of the game. He says they kidnapped Builderman and reveals a plan that some group wants to find the sword fight on the Heights swords. He gives us a wooden sword to break the planks back outside and says that his fate is in our hands now. Terry finds us and says we left a skill card in his room, and it was a power stab card. Terry then teaches us how to equip skill cards, and that requires a cost called BP to properly manage and limit the certain skill cards you want to use in battle. Oh, and by the way, this is not the last time we'll see Terry, alright? Exploring the meadows, I use this as an opportunity to test my new sword. Remember, it's all about timing. You have to hit your attack on the green part of the bar. I use my power stab skill to attack, and with a combination of my first strike attack buff I did a total of 5 damage. That's pretty massive. I also want to appreciate the different enemy types in this game. Some may consider it as minor detail, but it makes the game experience all the better for me, seeing all these different mobs. And I choose to mainly always increase my SP every time I level up. After seeing that +5 attack I performed earlier, it kind of went to my head and I decided to just go to glass cannon build. This decision though comes to bite me later on. As I almost make it out the meadows, I stumble into red and blue again, but this time with their boss, Nubador. It's boss time. This is the first time I start getting worried about the future of enemy battles, because what? A 3v1? Seriously? I thought I was just going to fight the boss, not get jumped by like all 3 of them. Fortunately though, I already mastered the timing mechanics, and it can barely even touch me during the attack phase, so using my power stab skill card, I shred through all of them super easily. We kick things off in the first chapter of the story, where we're traveling through a cave, and in the first enemy encounter, we get jumped by 4 enemies at once. I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen eventually, but instead of running away, my ego forced me to stay in combat and beat these mobs. But there's something I later soon realized. To dodge and block in combat, you have to figure out the timing of the enemy attack frames. Keywords, figure out. So you can't dodge an attack if you don't know how the attack works in the first place. So you're basically just taking damage at first. There are 4 enemies who do around 1 to 2 damage, and I only have 10 health. I guess full on attack power isn't everything in combat, especially when all of my attacks are single target. I somehow beat them, but now I'm left on 2 health. Thank goodness I played a lot of RPGs. I always tried to be fully stacked on healing items, which were the cheeseburgers, and healed all the way back up to 10. We run into Terry again and he helps us get a new skill card that gives us more HP, and thankfully he lets us keep it since he already has it. And I'm sorry, I don't know why, but ever since then I never equipped the card. Maybe it jumped out of my memory or something, but I completely forgot about it. I don't know why. I played the whole chapter on 10 health, which was pretty dumb, but oh well. We later run into some new enemies, the ants. Terry told us about them earlier. They're extremely annoying. The game also introduced us to status effects. I got hit with the dizzy and was rendered incapable of attacking on some turns. I clapped those sorry ants though and made it out the cave. But what caught me off guard though was that I still got jumped by these ants in the snow. I did not plan on dying anytime soon, so obviously I beat them up and headed on my merry way. The ants finally call up their boss and starts yelling at us for trespassing onto her territory or something. Boss time. Not gonna lie though, this is one of the times I actually enjoyed going for a glass cannon build. I completely shredded through the boss's health, spamming my power stab, and then... So anyways, we end up in Road Town, which was supposed to be the sunniest part of Crossroads, but things got a little chilly. We hear rumors that the ice dagger was stolen and that snowclads over the town were coming from Black Rock Castle, so I guess that's what we're on to next. We explore around the town and stumble our way into a cabin where the mayor of the town is. He warns us about Black Rock Mountains and starts yapping about bruh. Apparently his pal Jim has gone missing, so he gives us an adventurer's ID, and I promise I'll find Jim on my way to Black Rock Castle, and so I journey off. Before I move on, this new region is where I got a reality check on my battle power. I was genuinely so close to dying multiple times. The enemy types were changing, and the enemy attack powers were scaling higher. Thankfully, I was saved by this party of 2 people, and one of them had healing magic. Thank goodness too, because I was running extremely low on healing items. So I joined their party as thanks for saving me and journeyed forth. Our party stumbles on a guy who sells bombs. Yep. Bombs. Bombs attack all enemies by 2, and that sounds extremely powerful. So I buy a lot of them to possibly use it on a boss fight. Not gonna lie though, I get lost and I have to fight enemies alone. And I didn't want to die, so I used up all my bombs, and I'm left with like basically nothing. Our party finally stumbles into a castle and defeat all the night guards. They weren't really hard per se, but without my teammates, I feel like this experience would have been a lot harder. Now right here is where the power scaling spikes up. We encounter the sentient statue. I don't know how I was supposed to dodge their attack really, and unexpectedly the statue speed blitzed the whole party, causing 5 damage to all party members. Now this is where I had to sit up on my chair. I only had 10 HP, so literally another one of those attacks would just kill me. Thank goodness I had leftover cheeseburgers, and then my other party member summons red and blue? What? That's interesting, I guess. Because that was one more pick for the AI to target. We weren't going to die that easily, and I delivered the final blow to the sentient statue and won the battle. To speed things up, we raided throughout the whole castle, met Terry again, and finally encountered the cruel king. He talks all condescending to us, basically saying we're not the hero of the story. He also talks about seeing the future, and that he's being tainted by some tormenting voice. We weren't taking any of that, and started the boss battle. The boss starts off with around 45 health, and can summon an AoE ice skill that attacks all party members. He can even heal by +1 too. The battle didn't necessarily scare me as the sentient statue did, but I did find the boss AoE attacks quite difficult to dodge, since I'm seeing it for the first time obviously. I don't think I dodged any of them, to be honest. The king can also summon knights to help him in battle. During the encounter, which I think took around 6 minutes, we defeated the king and we bump into Terry again somehow, sitting on the throne. He teaches us a really useful ability to fast travel, so we don't have to walk all the way back. Alright, and yeah, that concludes chapter 1 of Block Tales. If you're interested in playing it, I highly recommend, because there are more chapters I'm going to play after this by myself. This is easily one of the best Roblox turn-based RPGs I've ever played. Ranking this among other Roblox RPGs, I'd most likely give this an A tier. The world building was calm, the combat was extremely fair, and the story was enjoyable and compelling. The only thing I love to really see is just more weapon types in this game. Maybe there are in the later chapters, since I haven't gone through everything. But from what I've played so far, it's been phenomenal. Feel free to even give your own thoughts on the game or any more game recommendations in the comments below. And thanks. See you all in the next video.